Hi guys, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and if you've never been here before, welcome to the channel. My name is Mr. Cellophane. I am a North American Football Manager streamer. I do call it football. I don't call it soccer, in deference to the worldwide audience. You can catch me streaming this game on Twitch most nights, and I also have a couple of series which you can check out on this channel, and I hope that you do while you are here. On Football Manager, the latest is we are trying to win the CONCACAF Champions Cup with a team that is not in Liga MX or in MLS. I hope you enjoy that. But on stream, we've been doing a lot of talking about the news that came out this past week on Football Manager 25. Now, I'm not going to bore you by reading through it. You can obviously, if you haven't done so already, take the time at your leisure. I'm going to drop a link in the description below for this content. So I'm not going to just play narrator for you. In fact, most of the beginning of this is fluff. 2,800 words Miles put out on the development update, the first development update that we have seen on FM25, which is going to be a major chapter in their journey to provide the most true-to-life football management game on the market. And 10 million people have been playing Football Manager in this latest iteration in FM24. But FM25, as we all know, is going to be a brand new starting point for the game. And the game that we know is going to be completely different. A main part of that is moving to the Unity engine. And we haven't seen a lot yet on what Unity is going to bring as far as the match day experience. A lot of what this is just giving an update on kind of like sowing the seeds of where they're looking to go moving forward. And sadly, the thing that jumped out most to me about this is it's not so much about what Football Manager 25 is going to be. It's about what Football Manager 25 is not going to be. They've basically taken a look at the game and they've stripped it all down and they're reworking it essentially from the bottom up. Football Manager, as we know it, is going away with FM24. FM25 is going to be a completely different experience. Now, there is one little tidbit in this opening bit that I did find very interesting, and in fact, I really like. We all know that FM was looking to incorporate women's football into the game, and they are confirming that they have done that for FM25. Multiple licenses have already been secured. One thing that they did point out in this sentence right here is that in the coming months, they will reveal which leagues are going to be playable, but you can seamlessly move between managing men's and women's teams, which is going to make a journeyman save in particular very, very juicy. It's going to be one ecosystem. It's not where you come in and say, all right, I'm playing with men or I'm playing with women. You can move back and forth, and I think that is actually the right approach to take. Now, when we get to Football Manager 25 as a whole, they are looking at everything as how would we do this if we could do it now based on how we did it before, and would we have done it at all? And for a number of aspects of FM24, the answer is no, we would not. The biggest thing that is changing for me as a player is touchline shouts are no longer going to be a part of the game. They were added, they said a couple of years ago. From what I understand, it went back even further, although they have been revamped. But according to them, or according to Miles, he's never been happy with how the shouts worked. And he does have a point. If you hit encourage to your team, or if you hit berate or demand more, it's not an immediate reaction. You actually have to wait till play has stopped and the ball is reintroduced into the game before something actually happens. And if you are not careful, you could accidentally berate your team immediately after scoring a goal, and that would appear to have a negative effect on the morale of your team. Well, according to Miles, between this and a tweet that I saw, that really wasn't the case, and it was much more cosmetic, I believe, than we would have liked to see. Now, it's funny, the way that I have started playing Football Manager since this news came out just the other day is I am literally shouting as often as humanly possible. At the very least, it makes me feel better. They're also getting rid of the social media screen and the data chalkboard. The social media screen was fluff. It made for a good laugh, but it was kind of canned. It was literally something happens in game. I love something that happened in game, says one person. it's kind of meh, said another, and the third would usually be like, this is the worst decision in the world. I mean, you could see, like, especially like if you had a player coming back from injury, oh, it's great that we're starting player X, or it's player X is starting, really, or I would not start player X. It was just kind of there, and it was a quick fast forward through. The data chalkboard, I couldn't even show it to you. Apparently, it was accessible only through certain player screens and their player profiles, and a lot of the data that you could pull up there has been replicated in recent years in the data hub, and it looked like the chalkboard was used by less than 1% of the players that they decided to nix it. It really does appear that most of the decisions they made were based on the data they gather as to how we play Football Manager. So whether it's BS or not, it's not for me to decide, but it does appear that they are paying attention to how we are doing things. Create a Club is another feature that will not be coming back for Football Manager 25, although they are planning on bringing it back for FM26, so it is not dead completely, but they're looking to revamp it and make it a little better. It's a feature I never took advantage of. In fact, we were having a discussion on stream last night about the pregame editor. I thought it was where you could like add the databases that you download and other stuff. I didn't realize it was like a whole separate thing. It's something I have never touched. Versus mode, great idea, but just nobody was playing. It was a chance to go head to head with another person. It was kind of FIFA-esque, I think, in my estimation. Again, I never played it, so to me, it going away means absolutely nothing. Challenge mode is something I had never heard of before, but that's only because I play Football Manager on PC. This apparently was part of FM Touch, the console, and mobile versions. I did download FM23 mobile for a little while because I was kind of feeling the itch and I was at work in an office and I wasn't doing anything. Don't tell my bosses. And I just was like, I want to play Football Manager, but the game itself was not for me. Apparently, challenge mode was where you could, join a team mid-season to save them from relegation, or you had to get X number of points in a certain number of games. Again, I never saw it. It's going away for FM25. It will be revamped. It might come back next year or possibly the year after. They're currently debating how and when challenge mode will come back to ensure it returns with the best and most immersive experience possible. I think the best thing that they could do would be to incorporate that into the PC game, because I think it would be interesting. I think it would be fantastic for content creation. People like me who need to actually think about what we are going to do and come up with these ideas that we think you guys are going to enjoy watching, and challenge mode may just make that little bit easier. The one game mode that I have actually played, not a lot, but I have taken part in some like multi-streamer events, is Fantasy Draft. It will not be playable on day one of FM25, but the way they phrase this makes it seem as if it will be a mid-cycle feature, because that, even in the next sentence, they say mid-cycle feature releases are something that they want to become more regular for the series moving forward. Now, the interesting thing about this is while they're getting rid of Fantasy Draft, because they kind of envisioned this as an esport opportunity and then realized it wasn't going to work, they immediately partnered with FIFA E to create the FIFA E World Cup of Football Manager, which is taking place next month. Not next month. It's still June. Technically, it's still June. Well, you're probably watching this in July if you didn't watch it the day the video came out. But it's taking place in Liverpool in late August through the beginning of September. 24 players in a tournament representing their nation on the biggest stage. So very interesting that Fantasy Draft is not going to be part of FM25, but to drum up interest in FM25, they're going to have a Fantasy Draft tournament based in FM24. I'm not sure exactly how they plan on making that work. The biggest news, though, is a new UI for a new era. And I think the UI is something that has been kind of a bugaboo for a number of users. Now, I just started playing Football Manager with FM23. So the UI as it currently stands, because if there were changes between 23 and 24, they were absolutely minimal. This is all I know, but there are plenty of people out there who have been playing since the Championship Manager days and have seen Football Manager and the look and way you interact with the game change over the years. I personally love the way it is, but as we know from the rollout this year, with the massive explosion of Football Manager on console, is that the experience on PC and the experience on console have been vastly different games, because you just cannot replicate the way that the flow of things works on PC as you can on console. Now, part of the problem is that a lot of people had, and I for one am one who downloads skins for the game to make my experience a little bit more enjoyable, either because I like the look or the accessibility of certain things, is the difficulty of sometimes finding what you're looking for. Data chalkboard. I'm looking at you. So they have come up with a new system they're calling tiles and cards. Now, this is where I have my greatest level of concern for the game, because it looks like, in order to try to make it, as they say, platform agnostic, so it's less of a jarring experience going from PC to mobile to console and back again. They're kind of making it so the game is going to look as similar as possible from one platform to the other. My concern is that this may lead to the dumbing down of Football Manager on PC, but I am going to reserve that judgment. So most of the information that is going to be available on the screen is going to be available in the form of what they call a tile. And from the screenshot here, it's just a work in progress. It may change between now and the game. You can see, and in this case, it's last 5 match form, you can see that this information, depending on what screen you're on and how you choose to play the game, they don't say this specifically, but I do believe that this type of system should make it where you can have a lot more control over how the layout of your game is going to look. But you can see that the same information is available in a number of different ways in a number of different sizes. And then if you want more information, you can click on one of these tiles and it will bring up what they call the card, which is more like the full information. In this case, you can see an 8.3 rating against Arsenal, a 9.0 with goals in the 45th and 88th minutes against Brighton in a 2-1 victory. 2-1 loss against Brentford, where they went off with an injury in the 72nd minute. You get the idea. So I think this could be absolutely fantastic. I equate this with cell phones. I don't know if it works this way on iPhone. I am an Android user, but I have certain tiles on my home screen for the clock, for example, for the weather, where it gives me the basic information. It's more information than just an icon to open up an app. It gives me information there, but if I want to see more, I just click on the weather bug and it pulls up a full screen of weather information, and from there I can see like the 10-day forecast and whatnot. So I think this is very interesting. I'm also reserving judgment on the removal of the inbox. They're introducing what they're calling the portal, which is going to be the main hub of where you're going to get your information and where your activity is going to take place in Football Manager. Usually we get diverted to either the inbox or the social media screen for some reason. Again, this is a very console-y look to it. So I'm hoping that there are going to be ways where we can adjust this as individual users to fit the way we play the game and the information we want. Because I know in my portal, I think I'm going to want a little bit more information than just this. And everything looks just kind of big and clunky. Like it's easier to select with a controller than a mouse. And I kind of like my screen views jam-packed with information, which is why I also chose some of the skins that I use when playing Football Manager. So again, hopefully, work in progress. We know, hopefully these are a bit more customizable, but you've got your agenda, which is basically what tells you what you need to do in that day. A calendar, which typically only comes up when you're advancing the game. So this is actually kind of nice to see what's coming ahead. And it looks like the training is incorporated in that as well. There is a spot for your news, upcoming fixtures, and this messages part. This is the one that I'm not 100% sold on. As much as it was annoying to get certain emails again and again and again and again, especially when you are scouting and you get like the 10 emails for the week letting you know who the best attacking player is, best attacking team, worst defending team, things like that. It looks like it has been replaced with a more WhatsApp-y type of instant message screen. Again, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. Maybe that's just the boomer in me. And we did get one screenshot, which is going to show part of the in-game experience. Again, really wish that we could have seen what some of the changes in the match engine and the view. Now, what is interesting, this is the screen that it shows when the game is being simulated in the background, when you're in between highlights. It's going to be very interesting to see how this 2D works when you play like I do, which is where I've got my in-betweeny pieces playing at top speed. But if it works well, being able to kind of still see the flow of the game. Now, I do agree with Zealand on this one. The one thing I am going to miss is kind of that like feeling like you're still inside the game by being able to see the pitch behind the old touchline tablet. So I don't know. Now, if you are in England, you can help. They're going to be alpha testing. So you can subscribe to FMFC and potentially get an early look and get your hands on Football Manager 25 early. So what is next? They're going to confirm the release date in early September. Pre-orders are going to begin then. They're talking about early October with more information, so we're probably not going to see a beta till mid to late October. It's probably going to release in that first full week of November like it typically does, but we do not know. So we got the FIFA eWorld Cup of Football Manager coming up at the end of September or at the end of August. It's probably around that time we're going to start getting the information that we need to see. So what do you think about our first look of FM25? Do you like the way things are being set up? Are you a console player and you're like, good, the PC people can play the game just like we can, or it's not going to be such a learning curve when we jump over to PC? Should we do that? Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about Football Manager 25, what your concerns are, what you like, what you don't like, what you're going to miss of all of the things that have been cut. Hopefully there's still a lot more information to come of what they have added in to Football Manager 25 as we look to start this new era of the game that we all love. More of the American Dream coming up tomorrow, so I hope you are here for that. Make sure you hit a like on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not, if you want more Football Manager content. And I will see you next time. Until then, bye-bye.